Okay, I'm going to do a storage bags showcase here. Here are all the backpacks that you can make. Well, these 20. These four are actually standalone bags that are not part of this main mod that you can download separately. Um, this lines up really nicely, and you can sort of see different types of bags that we have here, like a fishing bag, an assassin's bag. You got it's kind of like a sea bag that'll hold all the storage from like Balron shipyard, historical heritage, anything to build a boat. This acts as like a quiver, but it's not a quiver. If you want a quiver, you're going to actually need something like from Bows Before Hose. This is just an extra little storage bag for ammo. We got like potions. This is like for all the mana stuff. So like we have a lunchbox which will store all food and seasonings, and this will also store eater related food and potions. So it's just an extra way to sort it. Like if you want to put all your health and stamina here and all your eater stuff here, you can. I got like for jewelry, some trader stuff. This is just like it's called core collector. A lot of light sources, materials, and stuff like that. Trinket bag. We have a tool belt. And for example, if we go to our notepad here, um, it's going to store like all the modded hammers that I put in here. And so to edit these bags, you're going to use something like the notepad, and then you can easily edit everything in the bag here. You can see the description. Um, this is the actual appearance of the bag. We have the forge. These are the crafting items, the recipes, which you can easily change these recipes. By default, they're using a couple of recipes from my restorations mod, but you can change that if you want. You don't have to use that. Even if it is listed as dependency, you can remove that if you want. And any items that you're not using, you can just delete so that you don't get any yellow messages that are harmless. And then here down at the bottom, we have our weight factor. So this is saying that everything inside this bag, its weight is going to be reduced by 10%. And then we have our teleport penalty, which I have by to true on everything. Like, if you don't want, if you do want to be able to teleport stuff, that shouldn't be able to be teleported, you put false. So, like, if I go to a miner's bag or mining bag, however it is spelled, I don't remember. Let's see what we've got. There we go. There we go. So actually it is false that you cannot teleport with the items in the bag. Okay, yeah, because these, you're going to have metals and stuff in here. So this is going to have false. So it is the other way around. And so then other bags are mostly going to be saying true. But you can edit this however you want. We go back to our tool belt here. It's going to have, by default, I added all the axes, pickaxes, stuff like that, some tools. This is going to be all the boss items, including like treasure chests, stuff like that. I added the trophies, which these are used for the monster bosses and some of the main bosses here. This is going to include all the trophies, like every trophy in the game you're going to have in here. Lunchbox, the farming, foraging stuff is here. We have a seed box, all the bones, claws, stuff like that. Butcher sack, leather related items here, and saddles, stuff like that. Just threw in the wool. Then we have our timber bag, and then we have our mining bag here. And threw in the feathers for the timber bag, and all this stuff. And here was like I even added the mining set from historical heritage, which I think this is pretty cool. Stuff like that. Real quick, we'll go to the mod page. Well, let's make a bag real quick. So for me to even make a bag, I'm gonna need to throw one of these on the ground. So we will go to, we'll make a mining bag here. And then here you can see the recipes. And again, you can edit this out. If you don't want to use the restorations mod, you don't have to. I do recommend it. I think it's pretty cool. You're going to get all these items here as part of that mod in addition. to the new materials and the crafting stations here. You're going to get all that sort of stuff. But you don't have to use it if you don't want. Just edit it yourself. Alright, so now we got our mining bag here. And it's going to start with 2 slots, or two columns here. So you're going to start with 8 slots. And then whenever we go to upgrade, it's going to go up in the biomes here. So the first upgrade, you're going to be using Black Forest and so on materials. Now we're going into the swamp materials. You're going to gain a column every single time that we upgrade this. All the way to the Ashlands materials here. And this is as big as the bag is going to get. I do not plan on making this any bigger for the Deep North, because then you get like a scroll bar, and I just think that looks pretty bad in general. My restorations mod here. Alright, so this is actually the restorations mod too. So, for example, these have text on the storage chest, and then the last one does have a scroll bar. That was the way that was kind of made. We can see here that we're going up in storages here, but here now we have a storage little scroll bar, which I don't really like seeing this. It does add more stuff, and for example here we can just put that on there, and it's going to be on the front and back. But that's just an example of some of the stuff in this other mod here, where we've got some stuff that we can just edit whatever we want here. We can put it all to that board, but enough with that. And let's go to this mod page again here. So again, these are the 20 bags. I plan on keeping this mod to 20 bags probably. I think that's enough. I think anything that's added into the game I should be able to keep within these 20 bags, plus the 4 standalones. Again, this is what we just went over the forge here. Again, this is just an example of some of the things that can go into these bags. Now this is what's really important. We want to have, you need to have the YAML on, has to, and then we're going to have the bypass on. Later on, if you want to try to edit this stuff, you can, but this is going to need to be on, and if you're having any problems, make sure this is on. I also would disable the default bag as well, just to start with. So we can go to our configuration manager here, which, by the way, if we go to our dependencies here, that is going to be this mod right here. We can click on this, go up here, then we have our configuration manager, which we want to download. It's just going to make things better. This also is very useful, I think, and then I think these 3 mods are very useful. They're not required, but it's going to make your life easier. This is the only thing that's actually required. This is just part of the recipes. You can delete this if you want. This, I believe, helps use the recipes from your bag as you're crafting them, if I remember. So I would definitely recommend keeping this mod for sure. You don't have to have this if you want to change the recipes. And then these are 4 standalone mods that are not part of this mod. These are kind of like this for like a dragon mod. It holds some of the dragon storage just for epic loot. Then all the distance origin stuff. Some of the distance origin stuff is going to be in these bags, but this will hold all the drops from those 5 mods. And then this will hold all the drops for all the Ravenwood stuff, which most of that's going to also be in these things. But it's just an extra way to organize stuff here. And then this is just all my other mods here, and then where to get them at and all that. So, alright, so again, let's go to our backpacks mod here. You're going to open this up, and then we're going to turn on this YAML. This has got to be on, and you can edit it from in here, but do not do that. That is really stupid. You're going to want to download Notepad++ so that you can edit it in here, and then we can edit anything that you want in here. And this is going to be all your 20 bags. You can easily edit this stuff to whatever you want. And again, this is the appearances. Here's your descriptions. Just make sure you back up everything. If you make a mistake, it could delete everything and give you a hard time. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing before you just start randomly saving stuff. The easiest thing to do for now is you can just edit the items that fit into the bags here. Put whatever you want, delete whatever you want, change your recipes here. Here's your weight factor. And again, if we go back to the bags, you're going to see your, in the description I have the weight factors. And if we want to go to VNI, we can type in weight and percentage. And then now we're going to have all of our bags in here as well. It makes it easy to search for. Real quick, I am going to get rid of this so I don't lose what I have here. And it's not going to let me pick this up because my settings, which is what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that bag. So that one is gone. And again, so make sure this is on bypass for now. I'm going to go ahead and put this to disabled. And then you can edit all this other stuff however you want. I like to hide the backpack. You don't have to. I have in chest on, so people can put this on item stands or in their chest. They can have extra ones. You just can't have more than one in your inventory at the same time. You can disable that if you want. And then you can edit this. This is your how many slots the bags hold and how they're upgraded and so on. And if there is a backpack slot, which I think I've actually disabled by default, because I've used the extended player inventory to how I want. And speaking of that, I add the 3 rows. 3 rows, it feels perfect, because now whenever I have the 3 extra rows here, it fits all the backpacks, including the 4 standalone backpacks, perfectly. It's just a nice, perfect 24 bags if you have all those. And then when you open it up, it just fits everything perfectly. So that's what I do. So I would just add 3 rows and make sure those settings are what they're supposed to be. And if we go back over here, we can see, you know, again, these are the descriptions of the 20 bags here. And these are their default weight reductions that you can edit to whatever you want. A brief description here. And you can change the names, whatever you want to do, you can do it. A few backpacks do allow some of the same items. For example, this is a sea bag, and I already apparently used some of the wood when building something here. But you can see, for example, we got nails here, and we're going to have some nails here. And in the assassin's bag, I know that we're allowed anti-poison, which is also going to be in the potion pouch and so on, stuff like that. There are a few bags that do overlap. So, for example, you can't find a trophy in the trophy trunk. Maybe it's one of the 4 that are used for boss summoning things. It could be in the boss bulge and so on. If you can't find wood that's in your timber tote, which, again, I accidentally used some in making a crafting station, or it was upgrading the bags, actually. I used some of the wood there. But then it could be in your salty sack instead. So that's the biggest one I see. Sometimes I forget. I can't find my wood. I'm like, oh, it's in the salty sack. So that's something that could happen. And that is just about it. Again, just make sure you read the mod page description here when you're installing things. Make sure you try to follow the directions here. And you shouldn't have any problems installing this mod. We can go to our configurations. The main mod is here. These are the 4 standalones right here. In theory, if you wanted, you could take these 4 files and just put them all into one file if you just plan on organizing this yourself and not have these extra files here. That's something you could easily do. You know, because this is the main one. Here's one that's just for the distance origins bag. You can see how small this file is. If I wanted to, I could take this bag and just add it to this file, and the same thing for all these, and just have one file for everything. Just be careful whenever we go to update our mods that you don't just blindly update stuff without thinking about what you're doing. And then everything should be fine as far as that goes. And if we want to, yeah, like I said, if you want the 4 standalone bags as well, you can download those here, or you can just add them all to the one file. Just going to make sure that we haven't forgot anything here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fly over here real quick. This is like a little testing world that I have going on. I'll show an example of what you can do with the extra backpacks. Some random items from some of the stuff I'm testing. Okay, so another thing here is like, even though I have my lunchbox on me, I have a lunchbox in here. Now it's not going to let me do this. If I do that, it's going to throw this bag on the ground, which you got to be very careful about that. But I'm going to throw the existing one on the ground. I'm going to pick this one up. And now you can see we have some different items in here. So I'm sure, if I remember, I can probably also put this on an item stand. I'm guessing. Hopefully this works. And yeah, it's backwards, but it's in there. So then I can take this lunch box back and we have our items right there. And I can just put it in a chest. If I want to like switch out my inventory, I can do that. I just can't have two of the same bag at the same time. So that is pretty much it. And again, just follow the mod page descriptions. It's pretty easy. That's all you gotta do. Alright, see you guys.